All right. What is up, guys? Zach in here, and we are live. We have our live event starting tomorrow. We got live audience today, just a little bit one. So basically what I want to talk about is some big changes happening in wholesaling starting out in 2025. This has been kind of brushed under the rug from pretty much everyone. And this is mainly coming from the main body of governing for our marketing. So some big things are happening when it comes to your texting, your calling, and these PPC, PPL list service providers. Now, I don't want to make this video, but I have to make this video because some big things are happening and literally nobody is talking about it. We approximately have a month and a half before all these new massive regulations hit wholesaling real estate that are going to affect everything. So primarily, I just want to share with you exactly the FCC statement that they released and what it means for you in wholesaling real estate. So let's try to go around here and kind of show everyone. Hopefully everyone can hear me and we can see how this goes. So first thing I want to talk about is this massive FCC news filing that recently kind of came out, and it's got a big change. So mostly what I want to talk about here is what they did. So basically they said FCC adopts new rules to close the quote lead generator robocall, robotext loophole. And this is going to affect your marketing pretty big. Now, before I kind of talk about this, right, I didn't even know this rule was going to actually be in effect. I didn't even know this thing was really even a real thing. I have some buddies I work out with, right? And we work out like 5, 6 o'clock every single day. And I always ask him, I'm like, hey, how's it going? How's work? Like salesman type stuff. And one day he comes in and he's just like, man, it sucks right now. I'm like, why does it suck being an insurance salesman, right? He's like, our lead provider said with new regulations coming in 2025, they're not going to sell us leads anymore. I'm like, what are you talking about? I do leads, I do wholesaling. They're like, no, they're changing everything. And I'm like, who? And the FCC, I said, huh, that's interesting. And so I kind of read it, I looked at it, I said, okay, this isn't really going to affect it right now, so let me look into it. And we're coming into late October of this video, and nobody has talked about it. Nobody has said a word about it. And no one has really the balls to really tell you about this, because unfortunately, it doesn't make it look sexy. It's not a sexy video to make. It's a video you have to hear. So the FCC is coming for your calling and texting, and they're doing probably the biggest change. A lot of these, what I call guru promoted marketing schemes, are actually become illegal in the next 90 days. And we got to talk about them because I literally we have some people in here, talk to them, and some people doing deals, about to do some great deals, and so it's awesome. And some people have gotten attacked from these guru marketing schemes. That's what I call them, right? Facebook ads, buy this. And at the end of the day, there's this new scheme that came out this year. And one of the biggest CEOs of one of these schemes have actually actively called me out because I won't promote them. I don't want to. I'll tell them after who it is. They probably know. But basically, they're going out of business. And there are some loopholes around it, but it's going to massively change it. And if you are a customer of this type of thing, you are going to be massively get screwed. Everyone promotes this. Every guru promotes this. Have you ever seen these guru, basically these oh, I'm going to go, close a deal live, and they promote all these services. This is exactly who these services are going after. And they're telling you this is the best thing since sliced bread, and you're about to get screwed royally over this. Also, if you call or text, the FCC is going to change a lot in the next 90 days at how they attack people who are considered spam. So we got to talk about all this. And unfortunately, my buddy that does insurance, this is how I figured it out. And so let's kind of talk about this, right? So FCC adopts new rules closing this called lead generator robocall. So let's kind of talk about the first thing on here, okay? Combating robotext sources. So the problem is the FCC doesn't know the difference between, can somebody hand me a chair? Thank you, appreciate that. I feel like I'm Tim Tebow. All right, so combating robotext sources. So basically it's saying the new rules now with the FCC is they're going to start red flagging numbers and they're going to start blocking certain texts from numbers, which they kind of done before, but they're getting a little crazier. So specifically, they're actually changing the DNC laws. And what they're specifically doing here is, if you can see it, they're adding DNC to texting. DNC is never really counted towards texting. So they've made it, quote, illegal for marketing text to be sent to numbers on the registry. Now, you might be like, oh man, I'm screwed here, right? Not really. Let's keep talking here. And the order encourages providers to make email to text messages an opt-in service. So you cannot text somebody from an email unless they opt in, which limits the effectiveness of major sources of illegal text messages. For example, if you ever go out here and buy like a service, and you put your email into like Amazon or something, or I don't know, Wayfair, and then they text you, that's now going to be illegal, which doesn't really affect us. Heck, it's fine. And heck, can everybody mention this? I got 6 text messages today from presidential candidates about the election. How is that not illegal? I don't even want to talk about that. It drives me crazy. But let's talk about the biggest elephant in the room, DNC for texting. Now, everybody thinks that DNC law applies to them in wholesaling. The coolest part about that is it does not. All right. DNC law has clearly stated from the FCC, DNC, you cannot call or text somebody on the DNC list. Now you can't text them if you are, quote, telemarketing. Now, telemarketing is an interesting law, right? Telemarketing, according to the FCC, you can look their own definitions up. It's actually kind of difficult the way you do it. It's basically if you promote the purchase or sale of a good or service. Butchered that. But basically that means, okay, if you are going out here and promoting somebody to buy something, a good or service, you're screwed. So if I'm a realtor, right, I want you to go list a property with me, right? You're actually fine, okay, because your wholesaling's very good. But if I'm a realtor and say, hey, you should list your property with me, that is a service. DNC law, it's technically illegal. Not good. This is probably one of the worst things you can get as a realtor. You can get actually fined, all these things. Anybody here a realtor? Good. Oh, sorry. But basically, not good. So that means, I'm going to talk to, well, I don't want to say on the live stream, talk to her, right? Unless she wants to be on the stream. I don't know. Okay. Mariella, right? Basically, if she cold calls for wholesaling, it's not good because new regulations are a little weird. It's like, maybe she's calling me for to wholesale my house, but really she's trying to get in on the service. Maybe Steven's going to have to call on that one. See, new laws are getting weird. So the FCC actually has kind of changed this now too, where there's been a lot of lawsuits with wholesalers calling on the DNC list. I actually did a video on this. It's in wholesaling.com, where they actually try to sue a realtor who's trying to wholesale. Didn't go through, but the basis on the lawsuit was, yeah, you were just trying to buy my house, but you were a realtor, so technically you were actually just promoting a service. That was actually good. It didn't pass, which is good. There's also a big wholesaler in Las Vegas that you guys probably know about. He actually got sued on the DNC list for cold calling. Guess what? The judge dismissed it because he was not promoting a good or service. That was actually in the case law. So it's codified in the case law that he was legally allowed to call even if she was on DNC because he was trying to buy the house. So he was promoting the person's sale of something, right? Now, if you promote somebody to buy your good, which is like a football, yeah, that's not good. That's illegal. If I promote you, hey, buy my service. But if you don't have a good or a service, you're legal. You're good to go. So yeah, this new law made DNC illegal. You're pretty much fine. Now, the only issue is if you're a realtor, there is some gray area. People kind of have a basis to sue you now, which gets a little scary. But if you have a VA, like with you guys, right? VA works for Steven, not you. So you'll be fine. Anything else gets a little scary. So number one, DNC law has been moved towards texting. If we're wholesaling, we're good. If we're realtor, we're not. And like I said before, I don't want anyone to be a realtor for wholesaling, because now you have to technically be careful of the DNC list. If you're not a realtor, you're pretty much good to go. Now let's talk about the next law on here. Let's talk about the next law on here, which is kind of massive, ain't gonna lie. It closes what we call the lead generator loophole. What does this mean? The new rules close the loophole through which unscrupulous robocallers and robo-texters inundate customers with unwanted and illegal robocalls and texts. The new rules make it unequivocally clear that comparison shopping websites and lead generators must obtain consumer consent to receive robocalls and robo-text one seller at a time, rather than having a single consent apply to multiple telemarketers at once. This is massive, okay? This is one of the biggest changes happening in wholesaling that nobody is talking about, okay? Let's kind of talk about what this consumer opt-in type law is. So I'm going to dub it the PPL law, the PPL opt-in law. Okay, FCC just did this. This is massive, okay? So everybody and their mom has been inundated this year with something called PPL. I'm not going to say the service, because that one guy has just been, he said the nastiest, like, I'm not even kidding you. He said some pretty crazy, I got screenshots, but pretty crazy stuff, because I won't promote him. Why? Well, certain companies, all right, that shall remain nameless, what they do is they go to Facebook, they run an ad nationwide, because it is cheapest to do nationwide. And it's basically, we buy houses, okay? I know Facebook ads pretty good. So basically what that is, that goes into an opt-in form with an email and phone number, right? So email, phone number, right? That's basically what it is. And so you click the ad, you put your opt-in, email, phone number. So this is on Facebook ads, and then they'll do SEO, and then they'll do PPC on this. And what they do is it usually costs between, because they're running nationwide. If I do in my own specific market, I'm probably $50 a lead, 60. If I do nationwide, I'm roughly maybe at $7, $8 per lead if I'm lucky. And I whiff on a lot of these leads. I can't get them sold. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go sell them, pay per lead, PPL, for $150, $200 a lead. It goes all the way up to $300. So by the way, these services used to be like $100 a lead. They've crept up because there's a certain set of leads that can be met. And when the pool of customers, the way it works, you have to bid. And so there's more buyers, the bids go up. So we're roughly now, we are starting with PPL like 100 a lead. Now it's at 300 a lead, because there's been, and if I promoted it, it would be like 600 a lead. It's crazy. And I've always said this thing's a scam. $600 a lead's not good. Get your own dang leads, because guess what happens if that company goes out of business? Guess what happens if that company goes away, and that's your only source of leads? It's not good. Okay, it's like if your only source of food is like one crop, and then that crop goes away, like you're done. You need multiple sources to do it, right? So that's how it always worked. So they'll get the opt-in, and then they would sell it to you for, wow, that light's in the way. They'll sell it to you for, oh, wow, it's even worse. Okay, whatever. They'll sell it to you between like $150, $200, $300 a lead, right? Now, that's how they did it. Wow, it's really bad. Okay, we'll go back, do it like that. That's fine. So they'll opt it in, and then they'll sell it to you. They'll give it to you for, let's call it $250 a lead. The problem with that is if you're really inexperienced, you're just going to basically pay $1,000 for 4 leads, and you don't even know how to close it. Nobody cares. You're screwed. You get your grand, and they made a bunch of money. Now, a lot of these leads are actually whiff, and they're not good. It's bad. Sometimes they G with them. Whatever, right? So you're about $250 a lead. Now, I will tell you, this thing is kind of fun. I equate it, I've never done this, but like if I took a bunch of steroids, I'd get all jacked. It'd be all cool. I'd look nice. But there's going to be some side effects. And the problem is, if you're used to paying $250 a lead and that's all you do, and now it turns into $500 a lead, not good. $800 a lead, not good. $1,000 a lead, you're screwed. Kind of like taking like coffee. Like you're used to getting 1 cup a day. Now you need 2 cups a day. Now 3 cups because your tolerance, and now like it gets worse and worse. And unfortunately, the way the wholesaling business has been going, you know, we kind of talked to Nina, right? She made $30,000 like that pretty quick. Unfortunately, every 18-year-old wants a Lambo. So everyone wants to get in this business. And this business is only growing. If you look at the stats in the population of the United States, it's growing. And so there's going to be more wholesalers. And when there's more people purchasing these, the bids go up even more. And there's like 5 or 6 PPL companies, and this is getting worse and worse and worse. Now, this is how it worked. They would just sell you the lead, and then the seller would get a call from you saying, hey, saw you reached out to us. We're looking to buy your house. Okay, I hated that model. I thought it sucked. And because I thought it was a one-trick pony, right? If something in this chain screwed up with the law, you're done. And so a lot of gurus, it's great. Hey, I'm gonna do live cold. I'm gonna close sellers live. Let me just pay 4 leads, and I sound like the man because I didn't have to call them. They're already pre-vetted. They're already ready to sell, and I look like the champ, right? I can go out here and do 15 or 16 of these, all easy. I'm getting my affiliate. They give them to me for free. It's all great. And I'm telling newbies that they have to pay $250 a lead. Like it's not good. And newbies have 10, 15% closing rate. Like you're screwing them up. So who knew about this? But basically, we're at like, you're screwing people up doing this. Now, this new law has changed everything because maybe Zach's a genius, maybe I'm just crazy, or maybe I just see something stupid and say, this little game is not gonna play out well. I kind of look how the FCC does things. And so basically what happens now, all right, let's flip this, let's flip it. Okay. I just wanted to show you the whole chart of how this works. All right, let's unscrew this one. Basically, the whole chain of how you do this is going to completely be different now. And let me show you what I mean by that. Who set this all up? There we go. Okay. Okay, you didn't write anything in there. All right. So let's talk about the whole chain of PPL and how this works for you so you know now, okay? Now, ready, right? PPL company runs an ad. We buy homes. They run this on Facebook, SEO, and they have their own PPC site, right? They do that. Then they go out here, they get the lead, right? They opted in, they get the email, they get the reason they want to sell, they get basically the phone number, and then of course they get the address, right? And then, good, and then they basically sell it to you for $250 a lead. You know, it's different everywhere, but that's PPL, and that has been how it all works. Now, massive changes have happened. Because the SEC now says, okay, let's make it red because they're scary, right? The FCC basically has stated, okay, this seller, okay, let's call it Jeff, right? He opted in with PPL company, right? He did not opt in to wholesaler. Get a little chin beard, right? I don't know. But this guy who's looking to talk to them because he paid $250 for it, right? The FCC says, wait. They didn't opt in to be contacted by this. This is soliciting. This is a robocaller service. The only person who can call this lead is the one that they opted in with, which basically makes, theoretically, wholesalers can't contact this lead anymore. That's illegal. He only opted in with this company. So basically what that means is when a seller opts in on a Facebook ad or SEO or PPC, they can only be contacted by the person that opted in, or there's big fines. So that means other affiliates can't. So the reason the FCC did it is because they're not evil people that want to steal your leads. These companies, which I'm not going to mention any, they're greedy. They will sell that same lead 6 or 7 times if it doesn't get closed. So now this person is getting 7 calls. They thought they were only talking to this company. Like, see, I kind of get it, right? I'm not completely against this, right? But the problem is now these PPL companies can't do this. What they have to do instead is they have to create an agency with you, or they're basically a boutique agency. Now they have to run ads in your market for you. And this is just going to, in my opinion, 5x, maybe even 6x the cost per lead. Now it's going to be $1,000 per lead. And I think a lot of these companies are getting screwed. Now, some of these companies have moved over to like more of the software game, and that's fine. But this whole lead where your guru is telling you, just buy the lead, it goes easy and simple. In 2025, it's illegal now. You have to opt in. This person has to opt, whoever opts in, that's the only person that can contact him. So some massive changes are happening here. And it's kind of sad that I'm the only person talking about this. This is the lead generator loophole that the FCC talked about, right? So these insurance people, they used to get people that do SEO, hey, looking for insurance. Then they would go send that lead out to some Geico guy, right? But now that Geico guy can't get it because they didn't opt in for Geico. They opted in for the original lead. So this is kind of crazy. Next here, stir shaken is changing. So these are the protocols for texting and phone calls. In addition to the rules, the commission also proposed and will take public comment on steps taken against robo-text. They're going even crazier on this, right? This notice proposes additional blocking requirements when FCC notifies a provider of a likely scam. The commission will seek further comment, modeling a successful implementation of stir-shaken protocols. The notice also proposes requiring rather than simply encouraging providers to make email to text service opt-in. So things are going crazy. Now, let's look at the benefit, okay? There's been a 99% drop in auto warranty scam calls. I have gotten 10 of those a day since they started, and now I don't have them anymore, which it's good, right? Spoofing is now becoming illegal. Some crazy things are happening, right? They're closing a lot of gateways, they're changing a lot of things, and some big changes are happening here. Now, let's kind of look at another article talking about this so we kind of have more of an understanding of what's going on, okay? And just, it's crazy I'm the only one talking about it, but I don't have an SEO boutique agency. So those guys out here that actually, you know, they're selling you PPC leads, that you have to be, you have to do the PPC yourself. Now you have to hire a company. Now you have to give them a retainer, and it's massive, massive changes are happening. On top of this too, all right, let's see here. Where do I get this one? Also, massive changes are happening here on, where's this side? There we go. Massive changes are, there you go. Whoa. On top of this too, opt-in law, we know about this now. Now, massive changes are happening with texting. They're going even crazier on SMS, basically, laws. So this means if the FCC determines that your number or your text is a scam, you're kaput. So once they consider you a scam, it's not good. So how do we combat this now too? Well, this is pretty cool. Now, the FCC basically, I hate to say this, but they have like an evil robot, okay? With like lasers. And basically how it works is if the robot determines your text sequence that you send to somebody is considered spam, or if a robot texted it, they're going to axe the number, which is not good. Now, the really cool part about this is there's ways to combat this, okay? So the best way to combat the FCC evil robot from thinking you're a robot is to make it think that you're a human. Now, we have an advantage over this crazy robot. There are approximately, in the United States, 350 million people, right? And they're all texting people, which is really good. Now, I'm not even saying this as a joke. If you look at the amount of text messages being sent out, okay? Where do you think is the largest demographic of people that send text messages out in the United States of America? Like text per day. Who? No, like the type of people. Men, women, teens, old people. Who sends the most texts? Teenage girls, specifically. If you have a daughter, a sister, my average sister would send like 50 texts a day to all their friends, gossiping and talk, right? I'm not saying that'd be funny, but like it's true. So this evil robot has to figure out, is this teenage girl a scam person trying to buy houses? Or is she just texting her friend about the Taylor Swift concert? They have to figure that out. Now, how does the robot figure out if it's a teen girl talking about Taylor Swift, or if it's a guy trying to buy your house, but it's a business spam? How do you figure this out? Does anybody know? I already told you the answer today. Anybody here know? Make it sound personable, but I can make anything sound personable, but if the robot doesn't care. What the robot cares about, number one, is if I'm Emily and I'm texting Megan about a concert, what happens when I text Megan about the concert? She texts me back. So that's the replies. Okay, reply rate is going to be the number one priority with this new regulation that the evil robot is going to figure out. Because if I'm texting somebody and they text me back, usually that's not spam. Most spam happens where I text and you don't text back. Or you text, stop texting me, right? That is the secret of this evil robot from the FCC that is trying to figure out if you are a teenage girl or if you're an actual spammer. So what we have to do is we have to get replies, and we have to get them quick, okay? My texts that I like sending out are things like, hey, I just drove by the house, is everything okay? That is definitely going to get more of a reply rate than, are you looking to sell your house? Which one's going to have more of a reply rate? And this is the big secret going on with texting. Heck, calling is the same thing. There's also an evil robot, okay, going out here and calling. Now, who do you think, what demographic in the United States has the most calls? Most call time? Moms, okay? Moms are on the phone and grandmas the most out of anyone, okay? And it's not even a joke, but like it's what it is. And so I'm just trying to show the demographics. So if this evil robot, how do I figure out if me and my mom are talking for 2 hours versus I'm calling for cold calling? How does it determine which one's the spammer or not? Because sometimes, you know, moms will call their whole family, right? If they have a big family, like how do I know that my mom calling 30 people today about Thanksgiving dinner is the same thing about me calling 30 probates? How does it know? Number one, for calling, it's going to be length per call. That is how we figure out these new calling laws for cold calling, okay? So let's talk about cold calling laws. Now, if you're a guru, you don't know this, you don't want to talk about it, la, 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 in my ears because I don't actually wholesale anymore. So length per call is going to be the number one thing we got to figure out right now to figure out if we're actually going to be spam or not spam. If I call 100 people and my average length per call is 2 seconds, because hey, we want to sell your house? Your average length per call is 2 seconds and you're screwed. Grandma over here is having 2-hour conversations. Her phone number, it has an insane length per call. It's like points per game, right? It's not about how many games you play. It's the average points per game. So if you go on a streak of no points per game for like 30 games, you're kind of done. Like your points per game, it doesn't matter how many so you can fake an hour conversation. It doesn't matter. It's all about length per call. So what I tell everyone is you roughly want to be at least 15 to 20 seconds length per call, which sounds crazy, but it's not. Because if you have someone who wants to sell their house, it might be 5 minutes. And then somebody that doesn't want to sell their house, it's like, hey, is this the owner of 123 Main Street? Hey, I was just seeing if you're looking to sell the property. That's probably 7, 8, 9, 10 seconds, which is pretty dang close. Now, if I find somebody that actually wants to sell their house, I'll probably be at that good rate where I'm not going to be spam. That is why your grandma, when she calls thousands of people every single year, she is not on the spam list because her length per call is very high, okay? That is the secret here for how you don't get on the spam list from the evil FCC robot, all right? Unfortunately, innovation comes from necessity. And in my wholesaling company, I've had a lot of issues with SMS being out here being considered spam, my call's not working, and I kind of had to think outside the box. I couldn't just be in the one space like, oh my gosh, I just got to sit down and die, right? Because if I don't do it, no one's going to do it. So reply rate is super important. Length per call is super important here. Let's go see what else the FCC has on the corner here, okay? The FCC is always making changes, but that's okay. We can deal with this, right? Okay, again, FCC's new rule on selling leads, one-to-one consent. Marketers must obtain explicit, okay, these are the PPL companies, the SEO companies that you hear about, right? Marketers must obtain explicit individual consent from consumers for each specific sellers. That means the seller has to give consent that, yeah, it's okay that you sell my lead to somebody else, which is not going to happen. Also, look at the new FCC law. The consent has to be in writing. How many sellers are going to put in writing it's okay for you to send me to somebody else? Ain't going to happen. Okay? Especially if you're using auto-dialing systems or pre-recorded voice. Whoa, that's not good at all. So PPL will be like, okay, well, you can do it. Basically like a little voice recording now. And these are big attacks. Number 2, disclosures must be apparent to a reasonable consumer. This basically means if you receive robo-texts or robocalls, communication must be logically or typically related to the initial interaction that prompted consent. Consent has to be given. If it's not, the PPL companies can't do it, right? On top of this too, this restricts information. So a lot of these marketing companies are going to be restricted. The practice of sharing consumer information with multiple marketing partners is prohibited. Consumers must consent to communications from each seller individually rather than giving consent covering multiple entities. That's right. So a lot of these PPL companies said, oh, I'm just going to have 15,000 LLCs, but it's the LLC on the top that owns all the other ones. No, even if it splits into different entities, it has to be done. So this is good too, because a lot of these marketing companies will cold call in my market and then sell that lead, which I absolutely hate. They can't do that anymore, which makes me very, very happy. They're also just going harder and harder in the paint against these guru-led marketing efforts, right? So the DNC List are doing more text regulations, which it really doesn't affect us wholesalers. So that's good for us. Let's see, the FCC extends the DNC protection to text messaging, elimination of loopholes, and basically they give a little tips and tricks and all that other fancy schmancy stuff. So yeah, it's pretty crazy. I ain't gonna lie. Some big changes are happening in wholesaling. Nobody wants to talk about this. It's all secret. Let's not talk about it. But DNC List is coming to texting. They basically outlawed PPL, a lot of these marketing companies that are inflating the leads. And guys, it's scary how many people watching this here listen to these other people telling you about what to do. And it's going to be outlawed, but they're telling you to do it, and you're going to get screwed really bad. SMS, if you SMS the old way, you don't use double whammy scripts that we teach in freewholesaling.com. You don't cold call the right way that we teach you how to cold call with the right scripts. You're going to be done. I get a lot of people that throw their hands up in the air. I tried it all. Now screw this business. I'm done. Guys, this is good because what I teach you is how to generate leads by yourself. This is how you do it. Now, becoming a realtor. Everyone talks about these new wholesaling laws. Not one law. When the South Carolina law happened, I don't know if anyone saw this, I decided to do 5 deals in South Carolina the month after just to stunt on everyone. And the reason I did that was just to anger people, because I'm a troll sometimes with people that think wholesaling is illegal. But just to show that that South Carolina law didn't outlaw wholesaling. It basically outlawed realtors wholesaling. And I did 5 deals, not as a licensed realtor, and no one's talked to me at all. So it's completely legal because there's a last second amendment that made everything completely legal. Marketing's fine. So at the end of the day, the only laws that have come down on wholesaling is affecting realtors. Now they made it very clear realtors can't text and realtors can't call. The loophole, if you are married, you can technically maybe say my husband did it. You can have a VA, just say your husband's the one on the company, because married couples technically both own a company. You can get away with that. If you are a realtor and you're not married, I would say stop being a realtor if it's not making you any money, because being a realtor is causing more and more headaches with these new DNC laws. You're technically breaking the law with DNC if you are a realtor, which for 5 years on this YouTube channel, I have been telling people don't become a stupid realtor. And it's just making it harder and harder to wholesale as a realtor. You are being told the opposite. You should be a realtor. You should do on market. That's just not me. I hate to say it, right? But let's, if I look at 100 people that have done a wholesaling deal, I say, which one of you guys did it on market? You're going to find 2 or 3. If I look at the people making over $1 million a year wholesaling real estate, which one of those primarily do on market? You're going to find 2 or 3%. It's not because it's a secret. It's the biggest source of real estate deals. It's not a good way to do it. So that's exactly these new marketing principles. At the end of the day, cold calling is king if you do it by yourself. Texting is king when you do it by yourself. And this business works if you do the work. So what I'm going to do is answer some questions. And if you guys have any more questions, or if you want to promote some JV deals or whatever, you're good to go. We had they actually came here early from the Discord, and they wanted to help set up. And then we did a tiny little mastermind helping them out there. I gave them a couple private markets that are kind of cool. But overall, if you have questions, let me know. Love to answer them. So any questions from you first? I answered all your questions already, except Faith came in late, but I can answer your questions later too. Anybody wholesalers in the Albany, Georgia area? I want to know. All right, so this is going to look weird. I'm like, all right. All right. Let me try to answer some questions here and see what I can do. So we are actually at the live event here in Orlando, so it's pretty exciting. I did a 2-hour drive with this whiteboard. I had to rent a SUV, so worked out. So I had to rent out the SUV, haul all this stuff, but we're good to go. Let me see. Can I grab some water? Can you throw me a water? No, just throw me a water right now. There you go. Thanks, Evan. Last time I saw Evan, he didn't do any deals. Now he's doing deals. So shout out to Evan. And shout out to Corey, too. Give a hand to Evan. Corey, do you know your little PPL is being illegal? Yeah. Corey's going to talk about his first deal he did with Evan. He went against my advice. Okay. This is kind of funny, but you guys heard about Corey before. Corey actually bought a PPL lead for Evan just to put faith in him, and that's how Evan got his first deal. And Corey only told me after, because he knew how much I did not like PPL, but it did change Evan's life, so I want to give him a shout out there. So I do want to say, because of that example, right, just because I say you can't do something, you shouldn't do something, you can do it, just prove me wrong. So Corey proved me wrong with doing that, and hey, I say, you proved me wrong. You can still wholesale on the MLS, prove me wrong. But for the majority of people, it's not going to be best. That's all I can say. So, okay, Brandon has done deals in Albany, Georgia. So you can do deals there. So can liens disrupt the wholesaler's deal? Of course. Brandon wants to know, where do I get this info? So the info on the FCC laws, I got it from fcc.gov. Like, people think I'm crazy. I only knew about this because my buddy was not getting leads for his insurance company anymore. I'm like, what's going on? He told me about it, right? And then specifically about the evil robot, they literally tell about their automated systems in the FCC. The telemarketing laws are from the FCC. I go straight to the source. Like, when it comes to a wholesaling law, I just read the law. I don't think you're stupid. Now, this isn't complete fact. This is a correlation that I personally found. I have found when I tried messages that got my reply rate up, I did more deals, I got more leads, and I got less spam. When I increased my length per call, I started getting more calls, more contacts, more deals. So that's just for my own personal business and teaching hundreds of thousands of people wholesaling. This is what the 2 things that helped me out the most. With the PPL, I just read the law. That's pretty much it. So yeah. Oh, Tyler did a deal in Albany too. We got some money right there. All right, question, Nina. You can ask me.
So
What is
there's
it?
a foreclosure.com and they'll send you the lead. So is it like that type of a company that you'd be able to do that anymore?
No, it depends. Like X Leads? No. So what X Leads does is we get it from basically the source where I told you about what company we get their data from, because that's the company that, think of some of the biggest wholesaling companies. I just get the same data as them. Those are just list scraping services. For example, the foreclosure.com, I don't know where they get it. My guess, foreclosure.com, I'm not trying to take your proprietary stuff. They probably go to the court filings of foreclosures and then sell to you. That's legal. If a person opts in, then you can't sell that lead. But no one opted in, it's public government data. So yeah, good question though. Let's see here. Where do you get this? I already answered that one. Menrid said, I just got X Leads trying to figure out where the Orlando meetup. My partner is trying to get through on the email. If you can email support@flipwithrick.com, I'll look at it in an hour. I can help you out. Let's see here. Nice drawing. Appreciate it. Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, so Gary, like, this is true, okay? I bought exclusive leads for $400, and I called the guy within a second, and he said 5 or 6 people called me. You know the real reason why? This is also the PPL scam that I hate. I hate, okay? Let's talk about this, because your guru has been talking about PPL like crazy. And I'm going to start screaming. I don't want to scream. I get mad. But basically, let's erase this part. Lord. I got a big whiteboard. It's a lot more erasing to do, but let's see here. Okay. Basically, what happens is if I'm a seller and I'm looking to sell my house, right? That's a door. Okay, I'm looking to sell my house. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to Google and I'm gonna put in sell my house fast Orlando, right? That's what I'm gonna do. Guess what's gonna happen? I'm gonna have 3 websites and I'm gonna put my info on all 3 websites. You know why? I'm a smart guy. I'm gonna bid them up. And guess who? Oh, wow, right in front of the light. Man, I'm stupid. Let's go push it here. Is that better? No. There we go. Money. Perfect. I'm going to put my info on 3 websites because they all look different to me. And this one is PPL website 1, PPL website 2, PPL website 3. I'm bidding them up. I'm putting my info on all 3 of these websites because I'm so smart. Guess what happens? PPL website sells it for a guy for $300 a lead. This guy sold it for $200 a lead and $150 a lead. And guess what happens? $650 is collected from there are 3 separate websites, and now 3 wholesalers. Now 3 wholesalers from each site. Wholesaler 1, 2, and 3 calls them. Oh, wow. That's really bad. All right. Now you have 3 wholesalers contacting the seller. And you're like, $200, it's my exclusive deal. No, it's not. So that's the main problem here. So yeah, I've been invited to these little like, hey, let me promote my service and you can just call the leads we got and just promote it, man. It's so easy. Yeah, it makes me look like a great closing guy because they're kind of a little more warm. But the problem is I'm promoting utter poop. Like, look at this. Like PPL servers 1, 2, and like, if they put 3 websites, you're done, right? And so that's the main issue. You're paying $300 for a lead that has already contacted 3 or 4 or 5 people. And that's how this business works. And so I hate to see that story here. You paid $400 and 6 other people contacted him. But that's why I hate PPL. But nobody ever tells you about that. No one's ever going to tell you about that. Let's see here. Let's see, some good questions here. All righty, what's going on? Why is this so messed up? Jeez. Let's see. The lien work. Who has done a deal in Ohio? Well, she's done a deal in Ohio.
Yeah.
She just did a FISBO in Ohio, right?
Yeah.
How much?
I have a property under contract right now in Toledo, Ohio.
There we go. So you need a JV on it?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to come up and talk about it, or do you want me to write it? Whatever you want.
Okay, what do I put on there?
Like your Instagram or something.
Okay.
There you go. So introduce yourself.
Hi, wait, can everybody see me? Okay.
I think so.
Okay, hi everybody, my name is Jayra. I
got the
have
mic.
3 deals under
Wait.
contract right now.
Shit. Here, just hold it right there.
Okay. I'll just hold it.
There's a microphone. People
Oh,
can
okay. So I have 3 deals under contract right now. I have one in West Frankfort, Illinois, Toledo, Ohio, and Shelby, North Carolina. So if anybody is willing to JV, I'm going to put my Instagram and my email up here.
Yeah, right. There you go. Perfect. There you go. And she split, I think, a $7,000 deal. So give her a hand for that one. That's great, right? That's awesome. So we're pretty excited. So I think 150, 200 people come in tomorrow, just FlipWithrick Plus members. So that's pretty dang cool. So yeah, she's doing nationwide. So it's pretty cool. And then Muji he has a deal. But you're trying to dispo yourself, right? Okay, he wants all the money for himself, which honestly, that's probably the best way to do it. So got her info right there. So if you got buyers, send it to her. Here's the rule though. The person who is sending you buyers, they're going to want the first thing they're going to say is, give me the address. You just don't give them the address because you can get screwed. Make sure that they have sold a wholesaling deal before. Very important. You say hi to the camera? Make sure that this person's done a wholesaling deal before and they share you the HUD. So many times people get screwed on a deal, I don't want to see it. So, where's he go? Say hi. Say hi. Here, you can just take the mic. We'll have you finish the stream. Here, say hi.
All right. Where's the camera?
There you go.
All right. What are we talking about today?
The FCC laws, they basically made those PPL companies illegal, and they're changing the way texting.
Okay.
So they also made it illegal to be a realtor, DNC, technically. So. But I'm going to pop up some questions for you.
Okay, let's do it.
But
Or you could take live questions right here.
well, we did a little like hours, so
Okay.
there's everyone in here. But basically, a lot of you are doing deals. It's crazy.
I know.
So Gyro she did a $7,000 deal. Remember Nina?
I do.
She's
I
done
do.
$38,000 of deals
That's awesome.
since we've last talked to her.
She survived the tornadoes.
That's her twin sister.
Okay. Got it.
That's Faith. She's in Georgia.
Awesome.
And that is Mariella and Steven.
Yeah. So he's the one good with
Diego.
names. I need name tags because I'm old, you know. That's how it
So-
works. So
Doing good.
awesome. Yeah, I got a layout of the town and we're all set. So what do you got for questions?
All right, so let's answer some questions here. Let's see. Dayton, Ohio, look familiar. Let's see here. Do you know what Ahmed Raja? He said, hey, I know her. Okay. Who's got a deal? Let's see. I've done a deal. Is Deal Machine or Batch pretty good? I think they're both pretty good companies. I think X-Leads is the best one, but it's just me. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay. How can you make a lien work on a deal, or should you just scrape the deal if it's got a lien? So, right on that board, how a lien would work on a deal.
So all a lien is,
Hear the mic, right?
it's just an attachment to the property. This is why I like wholesaling and real estate especially is liens are simple. Let me ask you, is a mortgage a lien? It is. Okay. So it just depends on what state you're in on how they do the lien. So on a lien, on a mortgage, you have a promissory note and then you have a mortgage. A mortgage is actually the lien. You can't sell the property till you satisfy the debt, that person you signed the obligation. Same with HOAs. It's going to be the same with like a utility lien. A lien is a lien. It means if you don't solve it, it's on public record, nobody can get clear title. So you have to understand how public record works is whenever there's a property, the neat thing about it is if you record a lien and it's legitimate, unless that lien's cleared, the person who obligated the lien can go after them and sue them, even if the property's traded hands. So that's why everybody wants to get clear title. So it doesn't matter what a lien is. It can be a mortgage. A lien's a lien. It can be an HOA. It can be a utility lien. What other type of liens are there? Like there's liens are liens. That's what we always deal with on property. All we care about, what is the total liens and what's the value of the property. A mortgage is 90% of what we deal with when we deal with it. So if it has a lien, don't worry about it. People get all like, it's an HOA lien, it's a mortgage lien. It doesn't matter. A lien's a lien. They just think about this. It's leaning against the property until you take it off that property and free and clear. People complicate real estate. It's actually very simple. Remember, a lien to be recognized has to be recorded on public record. I will tell you there's a lot of liens out there that are not publicly disclosed. You don't legally have to record it, but if you don't record it and the property gets closed, you lose a lot of your rights. So I'm not a lawyer. You got to figure this stuff out. I have people come out all the time. That's why they do title insurance and they announce to the world, if you don't declare a lien on it, you got to move forward. There can be almost anything, but most liens are going to be financial in nature and they want you to fix it and cure it. That's all you got to do. That's all you got to remember when it comes to liens. So, yes.
If there is anything that has not been recorded, as you just mentioned, if we did it, if we closed it and we put it with the title company, they would actually find that out.
So then it becomes was it a legitimate lien? Anybody can sue you after the fact, but once you get title insurance, it's supposed to protect you against it. And a lot of the law states, a lot of that, like in a mortgage, if you don't record it and it trades hands, you lose a lot of your rights with it. So to protect, if I'm going to loan you money and I'm going to go, hey, listen, I got a free and clear property. I go, listen, we're going to record a mortgage. When we say the word record, some people keep private mortgages. I've bought houses. I've had people come after me 2 years later. I'm like, here's the title company. Here's my lawyer. Like, for you to recognize a lien. Now, that's on mortgage. When it comes to like these, a lot of people do private loans on houses all the time. A lot of times they'll run down and try to record it the day before the closing. And that's why they always check the title as you're closing when you do it. So here's the bottom line, guys. If you have a question of if there's a lien or anything, just go to your title company. I get people all the time, they go, Rick, I don't really know what I owe against the property. I believe them. I go, what do you think you owe? Let me ask you this. Do you think most people know what's owed against their property? They do. They just don't want to tell you, like a lot of times. Who owns a home here? Do you know roughly within probably 10 grand of what you own it? I'd say 90% of people know that. And so when they go, oh, I didn't know that. Remember, if I obligate a property and I buy it for $300,000 and they agree to that and say they thought there was only $210,000 in liens on the property in total, and they thought they were getting 90 grand. What happens when that 210 is now 260? How does that work? I'm going to tell you how it works. You can't sit there and make people close on your property. You just can't do it. You got to talk them off the ledge. Now, legally, they're obligated at the 300. A lot of times they're going to go, can you do 320? Can you do 340? I go, no, I can't move off of this number. So a lot of people try to stick people when they have the liens. You got to try to work with them. I go, listen, you told me, and based on that, that's all I can afford. That's where I might go in a little bit, maybe creative financing or do some sort of workaround for them. But A lot of times when people get $100,000 surprises, you got to have 300, you're going to have to find a way to talk them off the ledge. Because you guys understand, you have a contract, right? That contract is, honestly, you can't make people close. The worst thing you can do in wholesaling is write a contract and leave them alone for 30 days. You are going to be massively surprised when you come back 50% of the time. They get all wonkers on you, and when they don't want to hear about you, you make them nervous. So how do we prevent that? If you know you got to stay in touch with them, right? What's another person that you can employ on your wholesaling team? You don't have to have a physical employee. Who would you have help you out with it? Yeah. Once a title company contacts your seller, they completely change their mindset in you. They go, okay, now it's on notification. They've actually pulled title. This is absolutely real. And use your title company. How soon should a title company call someone after you get it under contract? Yeah, that day is really the best, because the worst risk is the first 24 hours after you write a contract. And I'm here to tell you, if they sound risky and they're not sure about it, solve their problem right there, because the next day they're going to cancel on you every time. I've done it. I go, okay, they signed it. I'm good. And then I get that call the next day. I go, Rick, I slept on it last night. I'm not comfortable. You can be that wholesaler who goes, no. You signed that contract. You've got to honor it. It doesn't work that way in wholesaling. Do you have a legal right? Yes. Are you going to sue everyone that doesn't cooperate? You're going to spend so much in lawyer's fees, you're not going to make it. Locally, my closing percentage is around 85, 90%, probably 90, because I'm just really good. 70, 75 was my average as I ran it. When you do it virtually, when you start out, it's 50-50, because you don't really know the market. You're trying to figure it out. And if you understand that, you get better with it. But the biggest thing is, doesn't matter if you do this locally or virtually, when you stay in contact with your seller, have your title company follow up with them. And honestly, especially when you guys have $100 deposits out there, they start talking to their neighbor, which is usually a realtor, and they're like, $100 deposit, are you crazy? They're going, no, this guy was really nice. He says he's going to buy the house as is. No, get out of that contract. I'll show you how to do it. They go, just call them and tell them you're going to cancel it. And that's what they do. And you have to beat them to the punch every time. Okay? And remember, the EMD is, you shouldn't be negotiating EMD. EMD should be between $100 and $500 for a good motivated seller. Occasionally, you have to leave a higher amount. If you had to leave, say, a $5,000 EMD, how much money should you be making? You better have a smoking deal. So I will leave $100,000 if I know I'm buying at 50 cents on the dollar. I don't care. Now, I have the ability to do it. If you don't, just go get someone to partner up with you, because there should be plenty of money there. Every now and then, someone will stick to a crazy deposit. But if you're buying it super cheap, do not ever let the deposit stop you from buying it. You got to understand that. People argue over the deposit. Last thing, what's the typical inspection period that you guys want on a property? 50, what else? 30 is ideal. Listen, anything above 30 is like golden, and sometimes special properties and probate, stuff like that. But I've got a lot of people sending me contracts lately of like 3 and 7 days. I can't work under those parameters. And if you're brand new to wholesaling, like if you can find a cash buyer in 3 to 7 days and you don't have one, you're very talented. It's not that easy to do. So you want that 30 days because you need 2.5, 3 weeks to really push the payment getting a cash buyer. So you guys can pick away. I'm here at questions. I appreciate you guys coming out and helping us out today. So Jermaine, you got to have a question, man. As far as you came from it, as long as it's not about the Dolphins, I'm okay with it. Because I got no answers on that one. So.
I mean, I started off in Seattle, so obviously people out there. I'm not saying that people on the East Coast are stupid, but people in Washington is pretty intelligent. There's smart people. So as far as have you done anything in Seattle at all?
So we just did a deal. I don't even make this up. She's inside of Flip with Rick. I don't think she's going to be here. She did it from bank.
I think Zach told me.
Yeah.
Is it the pregnant lady?
Yeah.
Pregnant lady?
I mean, it was like her first deal. I'm like, she goes, listen, I just saw an ugly house and I just got the nerve and went up and knocked on the door. And she's like, I'm going to get run over. It's going to be terrible. 30 days, she walked out with a monstrous check. I just walked her through it. I go, and she goes, I want to do it. I want to do the deal with you. I go, do it on your own. Like, I will tell you, I go, listen, I don't want to take 40 grand out of your pocket. Like, you need it more than I do. And it was such an easy deal and it was so laid up. But she goes, well, that market's brutally hard. We can't do it. I go, you can do anything you want. Sometimes we just psych ourselves out. You have to find the right market in the right area if you're going to stay on the West Coast over there. Obviously, California has some issues, but there are pockets that we do deals in California. I'm not overly familiar with Washington, but we can work with you and help figure it out. And remember, you can always do a combo of virtual and local. Yes?
Rick, I've heard that insurance is so high in Florida that a lot of people actually don't have insurance on their homes. So now that they got their homes totally demolished or such severe damage, they just want to leave Florida. So when you're coming across people who have that kind of a tragedy in their life and just that whole, what do we do now? How do you approach them without looking really? What's the best way to approach them?
Well, here's the thing is, in wholesaling, you should never have to change your approach. If you're truly out to help people, that's it. Like, all you do is help. So back in 2004, I was pretty much a brand new wholesaler 1 year. I got hit back-to-back hurricanes in 12 days. I mean, I was just like, I went out there, I go, man, what do I do? And so I created a little bit more of a custom approach where we went door knocking, we found damaged homes. It was really easy. And then eventually we would find the owner and say, listen, how can we help? They're like, we're done. We don't want to be here anymore. Florida's crazy. Back then, I figured out how to subrogate insurance claims with them. So back then, you tell how old I am, an insurance writer would come and they would write a check right there on the spot. They go, okay, it looks like $35,000. Sign here and you're done with us. Insurance companies want to do that so they don't have any more liability. And they would go write checks and they would have a check. They go, Rick, I don't want this house. And then we would finagle. Okay, they said it's $100K worth of damage. Your house is worth $250. So in theory, I'm looking at an ARV right now. I mean, I just called it an as is. It's not an ARV of 150. I go, I'll give you 100, period. They're like, well, wait a minute. And then the negotiation came down to, they get to keep the check or do I keep the check? And that's how I had to figure out how to talk to them. I'm like, crap, if they want to keep the check. And then I go, listen, then I go, I got two offers for you. I got one where you just keep the check and run. And then I got one where you sign the check over and I get it. You can't do that anymore. The banks don't let you do it. If a homeowner has insurance and they have a mortgage, the check is made out to the homeowner and the mortgage company, the bank. Then you got to send the check into your bank and they will tell you how to handle the repairs and then they will pay the contractors. It's an absolute nightmare. Insurance has never been in a worse position than it is right now. So as far as insurance, if you have a Fannie or a Freddie or really any major financial company that has a mortgage on it, you have to have insurance. It's all written in the paperwork, and if you don't do it, they're going to force insurance on you, which is about 5 times the average cost on it.
So a lot of people in Tampa, they're like, how do I wholesale all these hurricane damaged properties? Yeah. The big secret, if you go on free and clear properties, I mean, probably 10, 20% of free and clear properties have no insurance because they can't. The only properties that can have no insurance are free and clear houses. Mm-hmm. If you want to be that type of guy, you can go out here and do it.
But just all you do is go out and help people. So we have someone that's just writing contract after contract on these Tampa homes. He's like, Rick, what do I do now? I go, you got to go find people that are going to rehab them. Because I got in this problem in Port St. Lucie. I contracted almost 20 homes within a very, very short period. I go, man, I was like, man, I go, crap, what am I going to do? And then I go, man, maybe I just rehab myself. You couldn't get roofers, you couldn't get drywall people. And then the people I was selling them, they were having the exact same problem. They're like, I can't buy this house until I get vendors lined up. That's how we wind up with Chinese drywall in Florida, but that's a whole nother story. So you have to solve problems. You're gonna have to solve it from the seller. And then the fix and flip guy goes, listen, these things are everywhere. And so when you get an abundant supply, demand goes down. And you have to write the offers even lower. The problem now is the checks are made out to the banks, and you don't even have a say in it anymore. So it's really, so if they give a $30,000, $50,000 check to the bank, then the bank keeps it and tells you what you can do with the repairs. It's very messy now. And we're all trying to sort out on how to help them out with that. So I can't have the option where you just keep the check. So then that check has to be given to the title company, and then it's settled up on the statement. And that's how a lot of people are doing them. But the rules are being written as we do it right now. Insurance right now in the state of Florida, everything was going good till we just got hit with these last couple of storms. So we'll have to see how it goes with it. But always just, if you just look for servicing and helping people and go, what's your biggest problem? Can I solve it? That's how I got really good with short sales from 2008 to 2012. We focused on short sales. We still did wholesale. I needed free and clear properties to wholesale, but every property is west side down. So I'd write 100 contracts and I'd find 5 that I'd hit a home run on them every time. Every wholesaler wanted to just do a quick flip. I still did quick flips, but my average short sale flip was $50,000 to $65,000. But they took 6 to 12 months to negotiate. I had to get negotiators. I had to figure all that out. So we're constantly going to be figuring stuff out as wholesalers. You just have to adapt to your market. When you get hit with a major storm, like if you go up in the Carolinas, it's like, I don't even know how you dig out of some of that stuff. I mean, they lost entire neighborhoods. They lost entire neighborhoods. So like, what do? Well, eventually you start back with the parcel of ID land and find the highest and best use, and then find someone who wants to go and build. And here's the good news is when it comes to any of these storms, there's a lot of grants given. They hand SBA loan money out like it's candy. The average person, the problem is FEMA's very slow with their response thing. So sometimes you can help them like, hey, here's a contact FEMA person. Like up in Fort Pierce, it's one of the high school gymnasiums. They have it dedicated all to FEMA people. Yeah. Like the size of this, and you go in, and every day people go and fill out your claims. That's a service that you can provide to homeowners going, hey, listen, if you go over to the Fort Pierce gym, Fort Pierce Central, from like 9 to 2, FEMA reps are there. And so I did a lot of that too. And you get, then I had to do it for my homes, and then we had a home that was recently damaged. All you do is try to help people out from like, how can I help you? The more people you help in life, the more money you'll make. And you can't help everybody. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. But that's why I love wholesaling, because I'm not fixing up your house. I'm just giving you a path to get clear to it. And remember, the bigger the problem, the more money you make. That's why I do so well with probates. Nobody ever, like, they're a nightmare. They suck on paper. Like, I got to take all this time, solve all these liens, and I got to go find these 3 missing people. But if I can do that, I can make $100,000. Here's the key is I don't do it by myself. I hire people to help me out. In the beginning, I did do it. And that's it. At my 21 years of wholesaling, the more people I help out, the more money I make. And if I meet with 10 people, I might be able to help out 1 or 2 and buy their house. The other ones, I just give them free advice, just like I give to you guys. And then it always comes back. They're like, hey, someone reached out to us yesterday. Go, hey, did you bought my grandmother's house like 3 or 4 years ago. Yeah. She's like, hey, can you help us with this house? I'm like, yeah, sure. I don't know if they want me to, like a lot of people still think we're realtors. It's kind of funny. So we're associated with all the sales and we just help people out. But the more people you can go in and help, number one, you feel better. Number 2, you make money. And then you learn to become wildly resourceful. And once you figure it out, it's easy. It's easy all the time. I've had people where they want full retail for a house. I go, tell you what, I will connect you with our realtor or we'll do this. And after a while, they meet the realtor, like they're just not up to snuff. They would come back to me and go, hey, Rick, what if we can do this? He goes, I really want you to buy this house. That's where I'll go back and do like a creative financing with them. I go, what if I bought your house and I did this? What if we delayed the payments and we did this and did like no interest? Like, yeah, I think that'll work. I never would have thought it because I referred them to a realtor. You just got to listen to people's problems. They will never share their problems in the first 30 seconds with you. How many people go on Facebook and Instagram? Like there's like, everything's perfect, right? You've got to talk to people and get to know them. Once you get to know them, they pull down their veil and they'll tell you what's wrong with you. If you are targeting people that need to sell a house, it's easy. If you spend time with people that just want to sell the house, they just waste your time all day long because you cannot solve their problem. The only way you can solve their problem is pay tippy top dollar. And what happens when you pay top dollar in wholesaling? You're not wholesaling. You're speculating. So you're going to whiff 90% of the time in wholesaling. It's by design. You want to. And I want to take that one that hits me a home run. When I started out wholesaling, I had $300 to my name to get this thing done. $300. I spent it all on list and gathering government data, and I just went, and I didn't know anything other than knock door to door out in this oppressive heat in the middle of summer, and then I would do bandit signs, and I would recycle them, and I'd pick them up every 2 or 3 days. So.
So on the homes where they don't have insurance and they want it free and clear, they don't want the practice because it's like something left of it. Is it more like dealing with it kind of like a vacant lot?
It's actually easy from a underwriting perspective because all you got to do is figure out what is the current value of the house. So we all talk about ARV. What's ARV mean to you? Yeah. I have another word for it. It's usually pie in the sky dream, like if everything's perfect, right? ARV is like the most abused word. It was funny for the longest time. You ever as a kid, like your parents told you something and you find out like, crap, that's not what it means. Like you ever listen to like songs you listened to in high school? Some of you are still in high school. And then you go back and now that you have the lyrics on your phone, you're like, holy crap, I didn't know he or she was saying that. I used to think ARV was actual retail value. And so after retail value, I have so many terminologies I can get in trouble because I can't use this kind of language on here. ARV, honestly, it's like a myth. Here's how people look at it. It's the potential for the house, right? What do you need to know right now as a wholesaler to write any deal when you get down to it? ARV is cool. ARV helps you sell it to a fix and flipper, right? We sell the dream, the vision. I need to know what it stands for right now. That's it. That's all I ever care about. So if I have a $300,000 storm damaged house, 300K is its normal value, but this tornado came by or hurricane, whatever, and say it cost $100,000 of damage. What's 200K? Is it ARV or is it as is? Yeah. So what can you can't buy it for 200, right? That's what a lot of people, the people who want to sell their house, like, okay, well, I'll sell it to you 200, I'll take off the repairs. I'm like, why would I do that? It doesn't make sense. So you have to understand, I just look at a quick as is value. So if it's 300, it's 100K worth of damage, they own it free and clear, 200, I'll probably offer at 120 and just work my way up. And that's how I do it. But like, I'm not looking to take advantage of people when they go, listen, I had so many people in 04, they go, I'm done, I'm out of here. Like these hurricanes, you people are nuts in Florida with the gators, the mosquitoes, the sharks, and now we got tornadoes coming, and then like, they leave and they're like, hey, listen, when your house is full of mildew, it's wet, it's nasty, and you can't find anyone to fix it, some people just throw in the towel. I've done that on rental properties. I've had renters trash, I go, I'm done, I'm wholesaling this thing, and I move on. So we sell on emotions. And when people's emotions get so flared up, they're like, hey, I'm done with it. Someone like Jermaine, he's talking about, he goes, most of my sellers are very logical. They're like, it's logical, it's not emotion. The problem is the higher class neighborhood, the higher class price, the more logical it comes. A great wholesale deal always has an emotional element. Remember the go for no method I teach? It's 100% based on emotion. Why? Because if I make an offer on your house and you react to me, I win. Why? Because I find out how you truly feel about it. And that's how I find the truth instead of guessing the truth, right? So do I react to a reaction? Yes or no? No, you react to a reaction with a response. A response is a conscious response in an organized fashion. A reaction is just like, oh, no, you didn't. Absolutely not. And so when people get upset and they start yelling at each other, I can tell it's raw emotions once somebody starts yelling. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. You ever turn around and like, man, I can't believe I'm yelling at like that. Sometimes I yell at him, he yells at me. It's just, we all try to do it. So when we go out there, when you have storm damaged homes, anything like that, you just want to help them. But you got to find out like, okay, 300, 100, 200, maybe you wind up at 140, 150, but you also have to determine, and am I going to be able to sell this? And that's one of the problems we're having in Tampa right now. All the houses are being sold, but they all want them sold very quickly. I'm telling you, if you have a flooded house, you better have a 90-day like inspection, something, because it's hard. Flooded houses are the hardest ones of them all, for obvious reasons. I'll take a tornado, a ripped off roof, but once you flood a house, you create a lot of problems in it. Just like if you flood a car or anything like that, so. Yeah, the longer the better. But so what's the problem with fire damage properties? What's the biggest challenge with them? They're just a very niche type of seller. So they take longer to sell, but you usually get deeper discounts. People don't like fire damaged houses. So someone who specializes in fixing fire damaged houses, but there's only a set amount of buyers to do that. So
Also,
take it.
so we got a couple questions on here. It's like, where are we? What are we doing? So just want to explain to everyone. So if you saw the recording of the Escape the Matrix 2023, we did an event basically for everyone inside of FlipWithrick Plus, which was people that sent me a JV deal or they paid to be inside of FlipWithrick Plus, right? And the cool part about that is when you're a part of FlipWithrick Plus, you can come meet me in person for real. I think a lot of people meet me for real, right? I'm not fake.
Just real.
So the point of FlipWithrick Plus, I'll tell you the secret, was not to charge people $97 a month to join it. It was to promote it, where you're paying $97 a month. Like, hey, I don't want to pay that anymore. Let me just send Zach and Rick a JV deal. And yeah, you save $97 a month, but I make $5,000 on a JV deal. So it promotes JVs. But also the cool part is for $97, you come to a mastermind or an event that should cost you about $2,000 or $3,000. Because basically we decided to make zero money on the event because we'll probably end up making $250,000 from this event just off JV deals. That's kind of the point. But let me show you a quick stat of every single person. And this is a real statistic. So if you went to our first live event and you went to our second FlipWithrick Plus event, you have, on average, the worst person had a 300% increase in assignment fees year over year. Okay? That's right. So that's the worst person. Actually, it's infinite. The worst person who's done the least amount of deals, they came to our first event a year ago, 0 deals. They've done 4 deals. That's the worst person. Now, the other people that came to the first event, the second event, they, on average, are running 6- and 7-figure operations now from making nothing. So statistically, we have a 300% success rate. Well, yeah, that's how much your business has gone up. So if you come to every single event we've done, there's not a way you can't. Because the reason why is when you get in a room of people who are actually doing really good deals, there's a big difference between talking to Rick and Zach and then talking to people that I taught doing it. So it's a little different. So I think a lot of people in here will notice I'm kind of the same online as I'm in person. Like it's not like, oh, let me turn off and be a different type. I'm just who I am. So it's going to be very similar to the videos. But when you talk to, for example, you got Corey in there. Corey has made a lot of money wholesaling. That's the best way I can describe it. When you talk to Corey, he learned from me, but he wholesales a little differently, right? But you talk to him, you see his systems, then he shares it with you, and then you talk to somebody else doing well, and then it's all different. Like, for example, Jermaine's here from Washington. I said, hey, there's another guy named Jermaine who is doing really well, and he's going to talk to him, and then they can communicate. And basically, he's like, oh, that's how you do your business? Well, let me try that. Open the computer, do the whole thing, right? A lot of stuff opens up when you network. Now, the point is you don't have to come to these events. You watch the recording in 6 months from now of this event, which is cool. But also you can network, guys. I think everybody should go to zachdiscord.com, okay, and join. All All right. For example, pretty much everyone here right now, I made a little post that said, hey, who's in Orlando? Who can help me set up the event last minute? And you can come to the event for free. And they're going to get the beta for version 2 of X Leads today. And they're getting 3 months of FlipWithrick Plus for free. And they got to do like a mini mastermind today, which I think if I charged $1,000 for an hour, 2 hours in a little mini mastermind like that, people would pay it. But just trying to help people that help me, right? But just go to zachdiscord.com. I told them all. Just say, hey, I did this deal. Let me know if you want to do more deals. It's networking. Sometimes it's not how much you know, it's about who you know. And this is kind of like, oh, Zach's selling is 5,000. It's not that. It's a free Discord. Go in there, network with other people. You'll be surprised, right? So I was telling Faith here, like, she went in saying, oh, I'm in a market where, like, I just found 4 or 5 people in this that are doing deals in Albany, right? Guess what? Now you can get their number, call them, see what they're doing, and work together. It's pretty cool. And so you don't know how many people are doing well in your market unless you just tell yourself and make yourself open out there. So this business has changed my life. I'm excited to change everyone's life there. And we got some really cool speakers. We got someone speaking who came to our first live event, came to our second, and they basically went from doing 1 deal, and now I think they're at 25 deals in a year, all because they knew people from FlipWithrick Plus, and that's pretty dang cool. I got another guy. He went from no deals to $500,000. He's not speaking, but he's just going to be there in someone's market. I don't want to reveal too much information, but overall, guys, we're pretty excited for the live event. So Rick's here. We spent a lot of money at Sam's Club probably, but we got everyone's food and stuff. So if you are watching this and you are coming tomorrow, looking forward to seeing everyone in here. And I don't think we have enough chairs. So we'll figure it out. But guys, I really appreciate it. You want to say hi to everyone? But yeah, appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much. And like always, hit that like button, subscribe. And this event will be recorded in 6 months for you. Tomorrow, we are actually releasing the recording of our event in Dallas we had 6 months ago. So it's going to be a premiere. It's not going to be live because I'm actually going to be here. But it's going to be a premiere. But I want to make it so you can be in the comments why it's premiering so you guys can network. So it's going to be it's going to be a lot. But it's going to premiere at 1 o'clock. It's going to run for a while because it's an actual recording of a live event. And knowing that I'm actually at another live event, recording it for 6 months for you guys there. But guys, network in the comments. And what's your parting thought?
Looking forward to the next few days. And we'll do a little get together tonight. And that's it, guys. So come out if you guys are considering, think about Flip with Rick Plus, remember, it's much more than me and Zach. It's about the community. And I got an awesome set of people who came out to help us out today. They know how to take advantage of time, guys. So join our community. We'd love to get you. Check out Zach Discord. We'll be back on there Friday night. And I appreciate you guys. We'll see you soon, man. Thank you.
Oh.